Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infinity of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infinity of Memphis feels at home on WKNO.
the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
My guest today on Sports Files is the general manager of the Memphis Grizzlies, Chris Wallace. Well, the recently completed Memphis Grizzlies season was one of unpredictability. The team would advance to the playoffs for a sixth straight season, but was in no position to make any noise in the postseason after the roster was gutted because of injuries. The team went through an NBA record 28 players, and when it came to playoff time, stars such as Marc Gasol and Mike Conley were unable to be a part of it. In fact, the roster was depleted of many of the Grizzlies' key contributors. The man in charge of having to fill the roster was and is general manager Chris Wallace, who likely didn't have much time to breathe having to find replacements. He scoured D-League rosters, found a veteran in Jordan Farmar playing recently in Europe, and probably consulted with team physicians more than he had in the past 5 years combined. Today, Chris joins me to look at the immediate future of this team, to talk about the important moves that need to be made during the offseason and what fans can expect to see from this franchise moving forward. It's the man with the plan, Grizz General Manager Chris Wallace, and he's next on Sports Files. It's great to have you on the show again.
Terrific to be back.
Thanks so much for your time.
Me.
So, how taxing, when you look back at the season, was it for not only you, but the entire organization?
Well, we brought in an NBA record 29 players, I believe, was it?
28.
28, excuse me for being off one. So Chuck Sweeney, our equipment manager, and the lady who sells the jerseys, they really were the ones that were taxed the most. And Chris Pongrass, who generates all the new contracts. Ryan Hollins, for example, we must have signed him 4 times this year.
Exactly.
So from a procedure standpoint, we had to be ready to go every day because you just didn't know what you were going to face. But it's a tribute to the whole organization. We absorbed all these players. The water was shallow, so to speak, but the boat was rowed to shore, and we made the playoffs for the 6th straight year.
So did the basketball gods owe you one?
I don't know if I could say that. It was heartening again that we were able to make the playoffs under adverse circumstances.
Right.
You played the what-if game because we never really got to see our full team for a prolonged period of time. When you think back to the team we walked into training camp with, obviously Brandon Wright gets hurt early on in November. Then we have the rash of injuries later in the year with first Marc Gasol going down, and then looks like we're going to be able to stabilize to a satisfactory degree. Then Mario Chalmers goes down, and you know exactly what it was when he went down as an Achilles
right.
on a nationally television game in Boston. Conley's down, and it was basically by the end of the year, I believe 6 of the top 8 players when we started training camp had either been injured or traded. So it was an entirely new team. So from that standpoint, we all would have loved to have seen what a healthy group, what this could have achieved over the course of the year and in the playoffs.
Look, it's your job to know a lot about players in the D-League, around the country, around the world. But you can't know everybody. You ended up signing guys, quite frankly, 1 or 2 that never heard of. Or you had to go back, oh, yeah, that was the guy at VCU or that was the guy at Rhode Island. So how much, when you're down to a 25th, a 26th, a 27th, a 28th player, Chris, are you really relying on scouts and other people within the organization to help?
Well, our entire organization from front office standpoint is always focused not just on you hear the most about the college draft, but also on the D-League. That's one of the reasons why you have a D-League affiliate. When you've got the Iowa Energy, and our general manager of D-League operations, Chris Macris, does a great job with that league. But having a beachhead in the D-League with your own team, gives you a unique vantage point to stay on top of that league because he can do it as well as the coaches. We're watching our team play and seeing all the other teams. There's a D-League showcase every year in January. So we always are compiling a list on a weekly basis through the season. Okay, if we have a call-up, who's our point guard, who's our off guard. Then when that actually occurs, when that opportunity arises, then we go back and say, okay, are we sure about this?
You have a list that deep for 28 guys?
No, not 28, but you have 3 to 5 guys at each position, the top guys.
So you're prepared.
You're prepared, and you're looking ahead. I mean, Xavier Munford started to surface last year. Yeah, this guy did a nice job for a rookie in the D League.
Sure did.
Then he takes it a little further, the early part of the year. Yeah, maybe we'll call him up. He was on the hot list with some of the early decisions we made. He didn't make the cut. Then he's right there towards the end, and I'm glad we brought him up because not only did he help us win some games and get to the playoffs, he gave us a unique chance to take a look at a young up-and-coming guy.
You mentioned 6 of the top 8 scorers went down. You lost stars like Marc Gasol, Mike Conley for the season.
Well, and also, which is very disruptive, I've never been with a team in my close to 30 years in the NBA. Greg, we lost both the starting point guard and the backup point guard, who are veterans, who are very highly regarded in the league. And now you're really on the fly trying to put a whole new point guard tandem together,
like
which is arguably your most,
right?
absolutely, in the NFL, most important position.
But it wasn't just veteran players, guys that have been around, your young player. First of all, Brandon Wright, a newcomer, got hurt. Jarrell Martin, your draft pick, played, got hurt. Jordan Adams never made it off the court. So it's young guys, it's older guys. This is an aging team, as people know. How much general concern is there from you and the front office people about this aging team and about the health issues?
Well, every team in the league is concerned about the health issues because it's very taxing on the joints, ligaments, and bones of NBA players is running up and down courts, not just in the NBA, but just go back. These guys start playing before they're 10. They've logged so many miles on their basketball odometers that we're very concerned about, how do we alleviate any undue stress? Where is the point where you need to pull back? You hear about San Antonio Spurs resting players. That's become in vogue in recent years. So sports science really is something now that is no longer just a province of the training staff. The entire front office is very much immersed in that study and looking to see if there's any edges we can get. We stay at the forefront of that. So we're very concerned about player health. And then as far as the age of the roster, yeah, many of our top guys are getting older, but they're still very well preserved and been very productive. At the same time, we realize, Greg, they're not going to play forever. We've been bringing young guys along on the side, and then this year you saw the fruits of some of that efforts with particularly JaMychal Green, who we signed late last year. Trotted him out a few games late in the year, but you didn't really get a full view of him, wasn't really in the rotation. Then this year he was in the rotation. Ironically, this young player led our team in games played this year.
Right.
Then Jarrell Martin came in late in the year. Jordan Adams would have seen significant playing time if he hadn't been injured. And then we have Andrew Harrison, although not on the roster this year, the former Kentucky guard who was our pick in the 40s last year, but we still own his draft rights, and he spent the entire year developing his game in Iowa. So he's, out there on the horizon too, and someone that we have future plans for.
With all that said, and 6 straight appearances in the postseason, it's been tremendous for the city, for the fan base, but you're still some sort of an anomaly. I mean, the way you guys play is not the way the game is played for the most part now in the NBA. You play it differently. You've played it successfully for years. How long can that continue? I bring that up because there's the national writers and broadcasters wondering if grit and grind is dead. Can you still play that style? Can you continue to play that?
I don't think there's any question we can continue to play the so-called grit and grind style and emphasize Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph down low. It served us very well, 6 straight playoff appearances. Right. You can make an argument that we stressed the champions Golden State Warriors more than any team did of the 4 they played in the playoffs last year. We got up 2-1 in that series, took it to 6 games. So you don't ever want to, in any sport, Greg, just chase what seems to be in vogue right now and is hot. If something's working for you, you still utilize that. At the same time, though, we've been trying to develop more diversity with the team, bring in more athletes, get a little more three-point shooting. You saw that when Mark went down and we were down to just one big man, that we were getting over 100 points a game.
He went smaller.
Yeah, went smaller.
Right.
We were successfully able to play small ball. So I think our team is more diversified than just the grit and grind brand that we have developed over the last few years. But there's no question that we're sort of an anomaly right now. More teams are into the space and three-point game, and again, we're not neglecting that. we want to go with our strength as long as it's a strength.
Every offseason is important, as you know. But is this offseason a little bit more important than in the recent years of the playoffs for the Grizzlies?
Well, I think it's a very important offseason, no question all about that. I mean, we're going to have the opportunity to possibly have, max cap room to go after one or more free agents. We're going to have the ability to have the highest draft pick that we've had in quite a few years with the 17th pick as it stands right now in the first round. And we've got our roster's not fully complete as far as guys that are currently under contract. So we have some work to do, to bring in enough players, to have the 14 to 15 that we're going to have going into training camp next year. So yeah, there is a significant amount of work, and this is really, even though it's called the off season, this is really the on season for NBA front offices with the draft and free agency, and trading is something that never stops over the course of the year.
Sure.
Once teams are eliminated from the playoffs, they're eligible to trade. Sometimes there's trades at this time of the year. We're always talking to other teams and seeing what possibilities are out there. Last year, for example, the Matt Barnes trade that came down in late June on draft day, that's not something that 2 months ahead of time I could have said, hey, Greg, we got our eyes on Matt Barnes. That opportunity just came very quickly, and we said, wow, this is terrific. We're really not giving anything up just to draft rights to a guy we had. Matt's in the last year of his contract. I mean, the risk reward is definitely here for us. Let's go take this. So while you have long-term planning, the team also has to be nimble enough and quick enough to take advantages of opportunities that just seemingly come out of nowhere. Right. Tony Allen was an example of that. I mean, we didn't go into free agency that year in 2010 and say, well, we're going to get Tony Allen. That appeared about halfway through the beginning stages of free agency, and you say, wow, this is our best alternative. Let's really run to Tony Allen.
Right, and I bring up the importance of the offseason because a lot of the Grizzlies roster are free agents, including Mike Conley, one of the big question marks going into this offseason. But there are a lot of things that the Grizzlies are certainly concerned about. One is Marc Gasol. And Chris, let's talk about Marc and how his rehab is going. And how confident do you feel? This is a big guy with a foot injury and hasn't been the greatest track record in the history of the NBA with guys coming back from that. But Marc seems to be pretty confident in the way it's going.
Marc has done an excellent job with his rehab. He has kept it on perspective. The key that we found out about the injury that Marc suffered in the rehab is you just can't get too far ahead of yourself.
Right.
You got to take things very carefully. If you do that, you can beat this injury. So we're confident Marc will do everything that is mandated in his rehab process, and that he'll be back and be able to play next year. I mean, that's what we've been led to believe by all the doctors involved, and so far, so good. And
I assume that you have very strong faith in your doctors, in your training staff, everybody that works with the Grizzlies.
Yes, I mean, they've done a very good job with Marc, and Marc's a terrific patient too, because he's
that's important.
A very bright and sophisticated guy. He's seen other players have injuries. His own brother had a foot injury. So he knows what this is all about, and he's approaching it in the right manner.
Chris, if for some reason, and we hope sooner the better, Marc feels good, has the green light from the doctors, and it's before the Olympic Games in Rio, is it Marc's decision? Is it the team's decision with Marc?
We'll go down the Olympic path, when that arises. It's still several months away.
And if it arises, right?
Absolutely. So, it's premature to talk about Olympic participation at this point.
You mentioned the draft. You have the 17th pick this year. You're picking higher than you normally do. I would imagine, because a lot of times people say, they got to pick in the 20s. It's hard to find somebody. Second round, it's hard to find some. You can. It's not unprecedented. But 17th, and it looks like a pretty deep draft, you should be able to get a pretty good player.
Yeah, just a little outside of the lottery, the first 14 picks. So when you look at the mock drafts, players probably that are listed inside the top 10, and most of them now none of them will slip and get back there.
Right.
But guys that you start to see coming into play after 10, a little slip here, a little slip there. One team has an unexpected need for something or a like for a certain player that wasn't predicted. We could get one of those guys to fall down to us. And even if they don't, the crowd that'll be there at 17 will give us multiple decisions. We'll have several players that we've identified and researched that we're happy with that will be able to be selected. So as a group, we're excited, to be involved in the draft at that level. That's one of the positive byproducts of this past year with all the injuries that we did get a higher draft pick than expected.
Chris, what did you take from Dave Yeager's comments about not being a part of the draft? I'll be gone until July 1st. And then also, he's going into his last season of his contract. Will there be talk of extension with the coach?
Well, we don't ever have, we don't ever discuss publicly, Greg, contractual matters with members of, of our staff, our employees. But, Dave will be expected to be part of the draft process. He has every year that he's been with the Grizzlies, even when as an assistant coach, not just a head coach.
Without giving away trade secrets, behind closed doors with the draft, I would imagine that everybody has their say, and then is it a majority, or does the buck stop with you?
Buck stops with me, but we've got a great group that's very talented and hardworking on all fronts. I mean, we've got a guy in Italy, and Davide Prade.
Sure,
we've got
good guy.
A former college assistant coach and top-level recruiter, and Glenn Cyprian. Ed Stefanski is a former NBA general manager. John Hollinger is one of the fathers of analytics. We got all kinds of young guys in our organization, Daniel Marcus, Kevin Yiser, Marcus Jones, that do a great job in analyzing data and putting films together. So it's a very deep bench we have that, as a guy that's sitting at the top of the decision-making paradigm, I'm real pleased with, and we certainly take their input, but the final decision, will be mine.
Couple of minutes, Chris.
Right.
We did not see a lot of the majority owner, Robert Pera. Was there a reason, and do we expect to see more of him in the future?
No, Robert's very involved. We talk to Robert frequently. He's a basketball junkie, as you know, not just in someone who follows the NBA, but he plays frequently, has his own gym. And he's a busy guy now. He's got a worldwide business. I mean, it's not just a California business or a United States business. He has a worldwide business that he's still developing and has done so quite successfully.
But you're very confident in
absolutely.
His leadership.
He's committed to this team. He's very passionate, not just about the Grizzlies, but the NBA. Really enjoys owning the team. And he's been a terrific owner, Greg, because he has given us the ability to really have at the forefront of so many evolutions that are taking place in the NBA. We talked about on the medical side with all the technology. I mean, we have all the equipment, the latest, high-tech stuff that's known at this point in time that works with injury prevention. We've got the Cryo chamber where players go in to recover that gets under 200
Nobody's going to beat you in
degrees
technology,
Fahrenheit.
right?
Absolutely. We've never been more fully staffed. I mean, we have multiple physical therapists and strength coaches and trainers, and we've got several workout coaches. So we've got a team chef. Just the amenities that we have right now are as good in the NBA. We're as fully staffed as any team, and we're always on the prowl finding new edges that we can exploit, whether it's technology, whether it's workout regimes, whatever. And Robert Pera has given us the resources to be a team that's attacking so much in those areas.
Which will hopefully help with free agents during the offseason. Hey, Chris, it's always great to catch up with you. Thank you so much. I know it was a real interesting, to say the least, season, but you guys persevered to go through 28 different players, I think 28 different starting lineups, and still make the postseason. That says an awful lot about the players, an awful lot about the coaching staff, and an awful lot about the front office.
And it also says an awful lot about our fans. They were there through thick and thin this year. They really raised the roof, particularly at that Golden State game late in the year. In the playoffs, I know we didn't get a home win, but that scene late in the San Antonio game where everybody's on their feet waving their yellow towels was very heartwarming. And thank you, fans, for another great year.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate it.
Take care.
That's Chris Wallace, the general manager of the Grizzlies. We'll take a break. Overtime comes your way next. As you know, we have periodically given you an opportunity here on Sports Files to better your health through fitness. We have gathered some of the top fitness instructors in the area to show you what can be done at home or at work to try to stay active and in good shape. So here's the latest installment of our series, Fitness You Can Live By.
Hi, I'm Nate, certified personal trainer, and today we are going to be going over self-myofascial release, or SMR, and flexibility. Now, SMR, or self-myofascial release, otherwise known as foam rolling, is a preventative method that we can use to help strengthen, recover, and also prevent any injury during a series of exercises. So this is a foam roll. As you see, it's circular and tubular, nothing special. And we're also going to be doing this on a carpet. So you don't have to do this at a gym. You can do this at home, in the floor, hardwood, concrete, whatever you can do. Now what we're going to work on first are the legs. So we're going to target the glute muscles first. Sit on it, apply pressure, and just roll back and forth. No more than 10 to 15 seconds on each side. Now we're going to go to the hamstrings. Now this may be painful the first few times that you do it. Just know that it's okay. The more you do it, the better it is. And we're going to go to the hip. Find your hip joint and roll. A few times there. Now we're going to go to the MCL and ACL, or the tendons behind the knee. Be sure to get both sides. And now the calf. And just roll to each side. Now the Achilles tendon. So now we're going to move to the lower part of the back, or the lumbar spine. Now you may get a pop here, that is perfectly fine, but be sure that the foam roll rolls in the natural curvature of the spine. You could also move to the shoulders. Just like that. And again, no longer than 10 to 15 seconds on each body part. Now we're going to work on the quad muscle. Now you can perform this either before or after your exercises. Either which way works just as good. You can also do the torso. And that's foam rolling. Now I want to show you just a few at-home stretches you can do to work with your flexibility. Now my favorite one is going to work on the legs again. So from here, grab the foot, right, just like this. Keep your posture straight. Lift the foot up and bring the knee down. About 10 seconds here. Release. I'll take both hands, grab underneath the hamstring, and lift straight up. About 10 seconds here. Now I want to work on the hip section. So wide stance, keep your torso up, come down just like this. Now from this position, clasp your hands, take your elbows, and press your knees outward. This is going to be tight in the groin area, which is perfectly fine. Move back and forth. This is going to work on pelvic mobility. And also put your hands on the ground. Just like that. Now to work on the upper body, my favorite exercise, or stretch, for the arms, take your arm out here, clasp it like this, and roll it out. This is going to stretch the forearm as well as the bicep. Same for this side. Now to stretch your rotator cuffs, which are the muscles that support each shoulder, take the arm out, cross it over, this arm up, pull just like this. And on the other side, just like that. Those are a few at-home tips you can do for flexibility and SMR, which is self-myofascial release or foam rolling. Catch you around next time.
Well, I certainly hope you paid attention and will use these fitness tips constructively. And that'll do it for now. Have yourselves a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infinity of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infinity of Memphis feels at home on WKNO.